Hey everyone, it's Rita. It's Rita and my corgi teddy bear and Benji here a few minutes late. Sorry about that. Just trying to finish up a card so that you can see this wonderful simple pop-up cards that I'm making for today's Cricut Chat. And I actually was making a couple different ones, but this one here is the one I'm going to demonstrate. Good morning, Christy. But I just love these really simple pop-up cards. Look, it says, hey there, and you open it up and there's like a little Yeti and it says, long time no see. So cute. And it's a pop-up like this, and I'm going to show you how to make it, put it together, and how to size it and all of that. This is sized as an A2. Here's another one that I really like because it has a flamingo. It says, hello, friend. Now, most pop-ups don't have much in the front. It's all about the middle of the card, which is a leap for us. You know, it's a little bit different because we're used to decorating the outside of the card. So for me, in my brain, it's like, what do I put on the front? But then I have to remember that most people are just going to open it and look on the inside and maybe display it like this. So there are a number of really wonderful pop-up cards that we can do. Some are simple, some are a little more complex, and I want to show you how to put them together this morning. So how are you all? Hope you are well. And let's see, I'm trying to think if there's any news or anything that I'm supposed to tell. Oh, I was supposed to look. I never found out what was on HSN there, so I'm sorry. Does anybody know what was on there? Was it last night? So, hi, Bren. Hi, Shelly. Good morning. Yeah, these are really cute, and they're just basically these two sheets. Look at this one here. It has writing on it. It has like a little UFO or whatever, and then this one says, greetings, Earthling, and I'm going to show you. Oh, great, you have power. Okay, so this one's greetings, Earthling. I was thinking these are fun cards, especially in these times, since everybody has been, you know, socially distancing, and if you wanted to send some sort of, like, I don't know, greeting to someone, this is a perfect little greeting to send to someone. And as I mentioned before, these are easy to find, easy to cut. There are a few little tricks that I'm going to teach you on how to properly size them, because that was an issue for me for a while, was figuring out sizing until I realized a way to size them that would make sense to me, and hopefully it will make sense for you. So yeah, this one here, I always cut this one out. I cut it out today, but I had a little bit of this here happen. Now, if that happens to you, what do? I usually will just recut it if it doesn't cut out the letters all the way. I probably would have cut this on intricate cut setting, but I always give this card to people who have lost their dogs and stuff, like sympathy cards. So this one is a really nice one. It's understated and pretty. So there are a number of these. I just picked, I think, four or five. Here's the one with the flamingo and the gnome, which are very popular these days. This one here says, I miss you a lot, or miss you lots. There's our Earthling one. And here's our, so I picked five, I guess. And here's our Yeti one, okay? And they all basically use the same idea of a pop-up, which is, it's basically two sheets. So here's the outside cover. That's going to stand as your kind of your frame. And then your inside piece that has these little cutouts that kind of bump out. But the interesting thing about pop-ups is that both the front and the back have to meet together at the fold for them to work. You see, like this. So they look a little more difficult, but they're really not. So let me show you where to find these, and then I'll show you how to put them together. Okay, so I'll save this. Good morning, Dorothy. All right, so I'm going to start a new file, which, by the way, you do that over here with the new or the plus. And then I'm going to go to images, my favorite place in images, which is image sets. Because I know that this grouping of images are available. But what we'll do is we'll type in pop, and you'll notice that there are a couple of pop-up cards. Here there's Anna. Anna has a great set of pop-up cards, one even with a dog. And the only thing about this is that I'm having trouble with my print then cut. I wanted to do the Anna box cards, but I am having trouble with my print then cut. I don't know if anybody else is, but I'm having trouble. I get it to print, but I can't get it to cut. The scan marks, they're not registering. And I know that that's been something that they've reported, or other people have reported to Cricut. So hopefully they'll get on that, so we can do some print and cut stuff. So anyway, this is, there are two pop-up card images. There's this one called Simple Pop-Up Cards. That's where I got these cards from. And then there's this Everyday Pop-Up Cards, which was, it's an older image set. And I've only done one or two cards from here. They're kind of interesting, though, because they use a couple of different techniques, including have you ever seen those pop-ups? They're so amazing. I forget what they're called. Love Pop or something. And they charge you like $20 for them. But they use that inside, like a fold inside, and it sort of opens up. And that's like this one here, the airplane, and a couple of the others. These are a little more intricate to do. So what we're going to do is go back and look at these simple pop-up cards. I've done these, and you can do them in different colors and different, patterns and stuff, and they're pretty impressive for a simple card. So let me show you. We're going to let's pull in the there's also a Christmas one here, but let's pull in one or two of them. There's a really neat one down here with the ocean, what do you call it, a kraken. So we can pull in a couple. There's a mama bear and a baby bear. There's this beautiful roller coaster. I've done that for Valentine's Day. It's so cute. And then there's a pretty bird. And look at this, the kids with the rain, with the umbrella. And it's a little girl taking off with balloons. I did this one. It said onward for my uncle who was retiring. It was so cute. So anyway, we're going to pull in a few here so I can show you what I do. Sizing is a little bit difficult with pop-up cards. I don't know, it tripped me up for a while. And so I want to show you what I did. First of all, you know how I don't like envelopes. So I usually just ungroup this and remove the envelope. Then I take this one, or, like I said, it's 2 sheets of paper, right? So here's your Greetings Earthling. That's going to be inside. That's going to be the pop-up piece, because you'll see that it has a lot of scoring here. And then this is the front, which has actually scoring and writing. And I put them together as best I can. And then I select them all. And I choose group up here. And then I resize them. So generally speaking, what I do to resize them is I make it an A2 card. You could make it, A2 is that 5.5 by 4 1/4. So in that case, we would do, 8.5, I believe. Yep, 8.5. Yeah. So up here, I know it's hard to see, but up here it says the size is 5.5 for the width, and the height is I'm sorry, 8.5. And the height is 5.5. It's a little smudge over, but I think because we have it overlapped. Other thing I wanted to mention about these particular cards and some other cards that you might come in contact with, where over here on this layer, you'll see that we got the caution sign. Now, the only two that I've encountered, the only two reasons why I get the caution sign are that the pen is not selected. And in this case, because it's on the draw, I know it's probably that reason. But the second reason is if I am cutting on a joy and the joy doesn't allow the size cards. Yes. Okay. So I brought up the joy. So, yes, you could do these on the joy. However, you will have to hand score them. I'm going to show you a little bit. I finally found, where did I put it? I found my scoring mechanism, so I can probably show you that. But yes, you could do these on the joy. Envelopes, no, and you will have to remove the score lines. But you could actually make them, let's see. You know what? I don't want to say yes automatically about the joy thing, Terry, because I haven't yet tried it. So we'll have to fumble our way through that. And I'm not sure if we're going to have time to do that today, but I will try it. So before I say, yeah, you can do it, I want to make sure that you can. So anyway, this is another envelope. This one here, I think would be doable on the joy as long as the width is set at like 4 1/4. It doesn't exceed 4 1/4. And right now this shows as 3.1. So let me just type in 4 1/4. Yeah, that would probably work. And you probably want to pick something that has fewer score lines than the other. So this one has this with just one score here, maybe down here, which you could definitely do by hand. This one you could do by hand. This one you could do by hand. So yeah, but you have to look at certain parameters. Like this one here would probably not work so well. Okay. Oops, sorry. So anyway, let's show you again here. What we're doing is we're going to take out the envelope, and then we're going to group it and resize it. You don't have to group if you don't want to, but when I'm working with a number of cards, I generally try to keep all the pieces together. So that's why I group them. So this one here, and again, over here, you see that little triangle again, and it has got that draw on the draw, the little triangle. That means caution. It's not going to, yeah, Terry, thank you. Yeah, and you have to remove the score lines. So Terry's going to try that for us. So you have to remove the score lines. So over here with the caution sign, which says draw, it's if you look up here in the left-hand side, hi, Penny, there's a question mark. And that's just simply before they made some changes to Design Space, they didn't, how to explain it? They didn't set a certain color pen. And so they came in, when they converted them, they came in with a question mark. So all you have to do is hit that question mark and choose whatever. Black is fine. And then you'll see it resolves the issue over here. Same with this one. We've got the caution thing and draw. So click on that. Go up here to the left-hand side. There's a question mark and choose a color. Okay? So that's the same with those two. This one here, very similar thing. Again, I usually ungroup them, remove the envelope, and then I will group them back together. And I will resize them. So in this particular case, this one would work, I think, too, Terry. Yeah, you'd have to make the width 4.25. Let's see how that looks. Well, that might be a little small. So let's see. I'm going to make this 8.5. See what this does. Yeah, this one's a little bit big, and probably wouldn't be, but I love the way that there's like a shadow of the bird in the front. I'm sorry, the shadow of the bird in the back, and then the bird in the front. And remember, also go over here, look and see if we have a problem, and I'll just click on that that little sign. Hold on a second. Not supported by Maker, it says. So I need to just go in there and click on that and use. It's not that I don't like envelopes. I do like envelopes. So Megan's asking why I don't like envelopes. I do like envelopes. However, here's my problem. White paper, for me, it's so strange. I have such a hard time getting and keeping white paper in stock. And generally speaking, I buy like the Cricut 12 by 12 white paper, and I just go through a lot of it since I do a lot of 3D stuff. So one time I was making all my envelopes using Cricut Cardstock 12 by 12. I was making envelopes, and I ran out for a really important project that I was working on for a fair. And then I said to myself, never again. I'm just going to buy the envelopes. And I generally just buy them. There are only two sizes to buy. The A2 size, which is like a 4, it fits a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch. That's A2 inch card. And then I buy the 5 by 7. Oh, okay. So Lynn is saying if she resizes the files, so she reduces the files for the joy, it makes some of the cuts too small, and the machine tears the card. So and she buys generic envelopes. Same here. I mean, I just go out and buy them at Michael's, like usually like 50. Yeah, we can do that. We can, but not on the Joy. So Rosalind's asking, can you size one for a 5 by 7? Absolutely, you can. So let's do that for this one here. We will ungroup it. Oh, yeah. And Megan, this was before I found those big stacks of paper that I could make into envelopes. So I'm not like anti-envelope. I just tend to not want to make them myself, and so I just buy the generic ones. But I have made them from scrapbook paper that is thinner. But I was like caught in a bind there. Okay, so let's as Rosalind asked, can we resize this? So first I took the envelope away and then I grouped it. I'm gonna resolve this issue here by going over to the question mark and choosing the black. And you might think, where's the pen on this? But it actually is on the back of the dog and also on the little fire hydrant. And then you can resize it to, she wanted a 5 by 7 card. So to do that, the height is longer. And remember, when we're doing 5 by 7 or any card that has a fold in it, you have to double one of the parameters. So in this particular case, the height is the smaller of the two folds, if that makes sense. So let me do this to 10. And this doesn't quite make 7. It's like 6.5, but that would fit in a 5 by 7 envelope, and it would be fine. If you wanted to really push it and make it 7, what you would do is you would unlock it right here, and you would go up to your sizing and change it to 7. And it doesn't necessarily change it that dramatically, but because it was only jumping from 6.5 to 7, so 1/2 inch, it doesn't change it. But I've noticed that when you do unlock and you change one of the parameters, because that's what the unlocking does. And so the unlocking makes it so that you can only change one side, or one size, I should say, either the width or the height, but you cannot change it proportionally. By keeping it locked, anytime you make a change, the width goes proportionate to the height. And that's just sort of a normal thing that it does. And if we wanted to do it here, 7 would be the width across, and the height is 10 because we want it to fold to be 5. So there's your 5 by 7. Was it Rosalind that asked me that? Yeah, Rosalind. There's your 5 by 7. Okay, so let's cut one of these and then we'll put it together. Let's cut the dog one because I just really like the dog one, and I always keep a bunch of these. I'm pretty into the dog, actually the corgi community. And so whenever my corgi friends loses one of their dogs, I will send a sympathy card or something. So anyway, so as I said, it's just 2 sheets of paper. This is our plain part of the paper. This is our second part of the paper. If you look over on these different mats, you'll see what you have to do. Score, draw, cut. This one is just score and cut. Okay. Now, when I go here, I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to choose medium cardstock because I am using Michael's brand 8.5 by 11 cardstock. That's what I always use when I'm making cards, and it really does cut very nicely. But also when it comes to the scoring, I am going to change my tool. I'm going to make use of this scoring stylus. That's what this is, okay? It's scoring stylus. It looks like a pen, has like a little holder on the bottom, but it looks like a pen, but it's really just like a tipped, no ink comes out, you see? And what that does, it goes in clamp A, and you have to push it in, supporting your clamp. You push it in, close the clamp, and it will do the scoring. But because I have a maker, the machine or the software for the machine automatically assumes that I'm going to use my scoring wheel. But for me, I only use my scoring wheel when I'm doing something very intensive that requires a lot of scoring. And this cards don't justify me having to replace the scoring wheel. However, I will show you how the scoring wheel works. I'm going to try to do rosettes. We talked about that before. Rosettes are beautiful. They really do require a scoring wheel. And I can show you how that works in an upcoming video. So I'm going to choose medium cardstock, and here is edit tools. So I choose edit tools because I have a maker. But if you have an Explorer, you won't get this choice. So just so you know, and I have to change it to scoring stylus. So Megan's saying, my scoring stylus keeps popping out of clamp A on my maker. Any idea why? Probably, Megan, it's not pushed in correctly. I'm going to show you how you're going to do that, okay? So I'm going to move you now to see my machine. Now, if David were here, he would tell you, what does he say? Support, push, this is what you do. You open the clamp, that's clamp A, and then you drop this in, but you're not done. You're going to hold the bottom. I usually hold it with my middle finger, and then with my thumb, I click down. Now, why do I hold this? Because this is a movable part, and you see there are 1, 2, 3 screws here. So, Megan, this might be that you're not putting it in correctly. Also, it could be that the screws are loose, and so you might have to get a small screwdriver and just tighten it up. Don't tighten it up super a lot. You don't want it to be as tough as taking this one out. It's sort of meant to be sort of looser than this side. So this is clamp A. This is clamp B. In the maker, clamp B is where you put the adaptive tools, also where you put your regular cut, your blade and your blade housing. And you see here on the maker, there are these like gear things. So if you were to get a maker and you have these tools like this, you'll notice that they have these little gears that match up here. Okay? So that's that. And this is the blade and the housing. If you ever need to change your blade, and you should be changing your blade probably every couple of months. I'm trying to remember. I usually change my blade once a month, but that's because I cut a lot, okay? So if you're not cutting as much as I am, then changing your blade every couple of months is really enough. Now, you know when your blade is dull, by the way, this is how you take it out by pressing this little plunger, and that's actually the blade. See that? Get close. And then to put it in, you press that little plunger again, and it sort of pulls in there. Now, what happens if you have things that are, they're not cutting all the way through, or they're actually kind of causing this type of thing to happen? I don't know what you call this, but it sort of ruins this thing. Well, it could be your blade. It could also be your mat. Okay. And it could also just be that you need to slow down the speed of your machine. And in this case, it probably was needing to slow down and use intricate cuts, because this is pretty intricate, that the machine has to go a lot in here. So I wouldn't just run out and put a new blade in for something like this. I would probably try first to change the setting. It's a custom setting. It's called Cardstock for intricate cuts. Okay. Also, can we just talk a little tiny bit about mats while this is cutting out? Let me get this going. So this particular one, I'm going to cut out in this craft brown. Well, actually, I'm going to do the simple one, which I'm going to cut out in teal because it's pretty simple. It just has scoring. The other one has writing on it. So I have my scoring implement in because we do scoring first, then we do writing, then we do cutting. So we always have to have that in. And yes, Dorothy, we're going to talk a little bit about blades. So here's the thing. The blades, they used to be called German carbide blades. I don't know if they are still made with German carbide because they have changed the name of the blades. I've been meaning to ask. I probably will do that this week. So you can, technically you could sharpen the blades, and some people take a little ball of foil and they poke the blade into the ball of foil to sort of sharpen the tip on the thing. That's worth it to try. It's also worth it to try just to take the housing out of the machine and check it for anything that might be stuck on it. This is especially true for glitter. Glitter often will come off onto your blade and get sort of stuck in there. One other thing that I might mention is that I'm going to choose the cardstock for intricate cuts for this one. So one other thing I might mention is sometimes it doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes your machine will jam. And if you've ever experienced the jamming, it's sort of a little scary because you don't know what to do. And when you see that it jams, this light here will turn like red. And oftentimes your machine will just stop and it just sort of jams. And you're like, what do I do now? So when that happens, what you need to do is turn your machine off and usually it's jammed with the mat in there. You have to get the mat out. So when that has happened to me, the jamming, and it's very infrequent. So when that's happened to me, I have to turn the machine off and on. And then I press this button, which when you press this first button, it will push the mat out, but it might be so jammed that it doesn't really work, or it gets the mat out, but there's still paper underneath it. So if that ever happens to you, just be patient with yourself and use that first button Okay, I'm putting in my pen now. Use that first button and just go back and forth to get the paper out. You want to keep your hands away from here, in that this back what do you call it? Roller. It's not really a roller, but this back piece actually has a little bit of grease on it so that it can move left to right. Now, you don't have to generally re-grease your machine, but if you start sticking your fingers in there, you may have to do that. And I would suggest if you ever get to that place where your carriage is not moving, you need to call customer service with Cricut, because they actually have little grease packets that they'll send you. And you don't want to over grease them. It's sort of a similar thing to a sewing machine. I mean, you can grease your sewing machine and it will just drip grease. You don't want that. It's a very tiny bit, and you just want to keep your hands away from that. To that point, I am a little OCD about keeping things clean, but not as bad as my sister. Now, my sister, if she had this machine, she would be constantly cleaning it. There's nothing wrong with cleaning it. I noticed that a lot of times I get little marks. I can show you when I take this out, but I get little marks on this part here, this like ramp. And then you see I have a lot of marks here and stuff. So she'd be at it trying to get those marks off so it looks really new. Personally, if it really bothers you, just close the machine when not in use. But if you do have to clean it, yes, you can clean the machine. I would suggest you put a little bit of like Windex on a paper towel and just clean the outside. Don't ever try to clean inside of the machine. Now, as far as mats go, I wanted to show you something. So I got to a place where I was like, I want to clean my mat. So a lot of people, in fact, there were a couple of videos that just came out, which I was really surprised about, where people were suggesting that they use this stuff at the Dollar Tree, and it's called Awesome, LA's Awesome. It's a solvent. It's a yellow thing. It's the Dollar Tree. It actually is great for cleaning bathrooms, for tiles and stuff like that, but it's a solvent. It's very, very strong. And so people were saying you could put this on your mat and then wash it off, and it will make your mat come back to new. So it's really frustrating when people making videos for that kind of thing before they even try just washing them. So I went ahead and I washed all of my mats, and some of them were like not sticky at all. Now, this was not a new mat, and I can tell that because on the side that white is starting to fall off, like here too. Not a new mat. So what I did was I took these into the kitchen. Obviously this one has a little thing, but I took them into the kitchen and I took a scrub sponge, the kind you use to clean off the top of the oven, or you might use for your dishes. I used a new one, and I had a small bottle of like liquid dish detergent. Didn't have to be Dawn, and I poured it directly on here. And then I used the scrubber and just did this up and down and all around. And this is, and then you have to let it drip dry. But this was not a new mat. And look, it's super, super sticky. I did this with 20 mats because I wanted to see how they came out. And it brought the stick all the way back. I'm also doing the green ones and the blue ones. So I will let you know. But, yeah, they clean up great, and you can do this several times. So if, I suppose if you want to follow that, whoever is saying awesome is good. Personally, I have used it to clean my bathroom, but I've never used it on a mat. And the reason why, I remember having a conversation with somebody, an employee from Cricut, and they really work hard on doing these mats, and they take a lot of feedback. And I remember hearing about how they produce these mats, because they're like a very thick plastic, and then they have different sticks to them. And remember, purple is strong, green is is the regular matte or medium, and then they have blue, which is for lighter materials. So definitely take the time, clean the mats, use that sponge, and get really into it, like especially on the top and on the side, but really get into it. And don't put water, just use the, you know, a wet sponge with that dish detergent, then rinse it. And you do have to let it drip dry. I would recommend not trying to dry it, because then you're just kind of defeating the purpose. But you could wipe dry the backs. But I just basically, I put them upright like this all over my kitchen. I'll have to take a picture next time I do it. And it dries them all. And then they are literally back to the same stick as when I got them. Okay. So that has to do with mats, and we talked about blades, and we talked about clamp A versus clamp B, and we talked about cleaning your machine. So that's my maintenance. This will be my maintenance, my maintenance talk. Okay, let me move you down here so I can show you how to put together a couple of these. And we're just finishing up our dog. So there is the one for the dog one. But I can show you, I have a couple here. So let's do the earthling one. It's almost done with the cutting one. So, okay, so here is the, let me go up a little bit. Okay. So here, sorry. So here is our 2 sheets of paper. This is the outside sheet, just has a simple, and it has a simple fold, and you notice it has like a little cut and these little, I guess they're supposed to be beams or something like that. And then we have our inside piece, the part that's going to do the pop-up. And what I want to show you is that there are several score lines. There's one here. And you want to locate the middle. Here's the middle 2 right here. And I start off with the middle and fold it. I do this first. That's what I start off with, okay? All right. And then this is what's going to happen when we put it into our card. This middle piece here has to meet the middle score on the card. You see that? And then the pop-up consists of these score lines. There's 1, 2, and then down here 3. So you might have to do this on a flat surface, which is, I want to make sure I show you on the flat surface. You have to sort of coax. You don't want to overly, because you don't want to not have this halfway point, if this makes sense. So here is my first score line right here. And then there's the 2 over here. And I'm just like kind of pinching it and folding it, being very careful, because this is the actual pop-up. All right. I'm going to go back and crease them, but I want to make sure I have all 3 of those so that the pop-up works. Okay. So I can crease them like this, or if you're really particular, you could use something like this, which is, it's called a bone folder. It's just a piece of plastic that is good for scoring. So you could come back here and just make sure your fold is nice and crisp. Because the first time you did it, you just pinched it, and you can come back. You might have to fiddle around with it a little bit to make sure that you're getting all of the score lines there, okay? But you're still maintaining this middle score line. It's the most important one, okay? So this, it might look like it's not going to fold, but it is. And then we're going to take and we're going to glue it in place. I usually glue the left side first, and I make sure I get the glue. I get the glue all the way in this little area, and then glue to here. And then that will help you achieve the pop-up look. Hold on. Okay, And in this case, you know, in other cases, we haven't put glue on the back, but in this case, we are going to put glue on the back. So I'm going to line it up again. I need to line it up so that the folds hit each other. They're both exact. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm going to do the glue for the back side so that way the pop-up can pop up. Stay down. You're not going to glue any other piece of the card. It's just the top and the bottom of the, you know, the front part or the back part. And again, line up those creases. This one I didn't line up as good as I should have. Okay. And then you want to go, you're going to want to come back and sort of just make sure that it opens and closes. And that is a very simple pop-up. And let me show you that again with the dog one we just cut. So cute, right? So let me show you with the dog one. Just came out. This is the 5x7. So this is the one piece that has all that delicate, and see it cut out fine because I changed it to the custom intricate cuts for cardstock for intricate cuts it's called. So you do have to go to the custom setting for that. Okay, so there's our dog, and here's the basic one. We're just going to fold it at the score line. Right? Excuse me. Now, you could decorate the outside of the card if you want. You don't have to leave it blank, or you can use patterned paper too. So here's my halfway point right there. I'm folding it, making sure that I keep that nice crisp fold. Now this one's interesting because it has like a tab. So we're going to move the dog forward and move the hydrant forward. And then you'll notice that there is a score line here at the top. So at the top of the dog and the top of the hydrant. And then there's another score line that becomes the tab. Okay? So what I would normally do is I would actually glue these, the top and the bottom of the, you know, this part and this part first before I did these tabs. And I'll show you why. So glue can go all the way up, but you don't have to, don't glue the anywhere near the dog or the hydrant, okay? Okay. So I put it in here. And now I'm lining up to that front piece at the score lines, okay? And then the back. So now we have a card that folds, but we have to attach our dog and our hydrant. And we do that by putting glue here and here on those little tabs. And this is something that you just have to eyeball. And I usually do that by folding it, not in camera. Okay, so folding it like this and really making sure that I'm going to make contact where that is standing up straight. But you might have to move it, depending. So you might have to do this a few times. But the idea is that it's going to fold flat, and these little tabs are going to allow this to pop up. See, this is something you have to kind of keep doing until your glue sticks. Okay. So there is our I'm Always Here For You card. folded, and then opens up, and there's the dog next to the fire hydrant. So cute. So there's the tab method. This is more like a box method. And this guy here was this box. This is very traditional for a box card. Yay for the puppers. I love calling puppers. And then actually this guy here was just a piece that I glued to the middle box, and these two trees were also cutouts that I glued to the middle box, right? Fold it up. Hey there. There you go. And then this one is like the Earthling one. It's pretty simple. It's just simply a box that is bumped out here at the bottom, just like about an inch from the actual crease, and then up here. Okay, so these are very simple pop-ups, but they are really, I think, eye-catching and easy to do. I mean, you could set about doing it. Requires very little in the way of materials. Couple sheets of paper. You might have to do a pen, and then your scoring stylus or some way to score it, whether it's your scoring wheel or by hand to score it. So that is fun and easy pop-ups. And you notice I got my flamingo in there again, because I just love flamingos. And then there are, all these other ones. And you can find them by going to the images, choosing image sets, and just type in pop. You could probably find them just by typing pop-up in the basic image, but I just didn't do that. Let me try that just to be on the safe side so you guys know what kind of results. So if you type up pop hyphen up, I didn't use hyphen. Is that a hyphen? Got to get my eyes checked. Okay, so it has things that are up, like round up, giddy up, dress up. So you might not want to do it that way. It's better to just go back to the image sets and choose back to the thing. Oh, wait a second. Okay, here. So back to the basic search, choose image sets, and type in pop. And you'll see there are your pop-up. And this one's called Pop-Up Neighborhood. But if you do it from the basic search, pop-up, it gives you things that say like up, giddy up, round up, saddle up. See that? So if you don't mind wading through that, you could do it that way, or you can go and look through the image sets. All right. So that is basic or simple pop-ups, to do on your Cricut. And, someone, I forget now, is it Terry is going to try these on, a Joy to make sure that she can resize them and, do them on the Joy. That would be most helpful. I'm sure she's gonna post it in the group or something there. So that's all I've got for you today. This is simple pop-ups. Tomorrow we'll be back. I'm trying to think. I might do sure, no problem, Bren. I might do rosettes tomorrow, but I really wanted to do another summer card, so I'm going to see how that works out. Okay, everyone, thanks for coming today. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you again tomorrow at 9 o'clock here on Cricut Chat and Facebook. Take care, everyone.